What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and in this one we got the post-game report and instant reaction following Michigan's 27-24 win over Minnesota. Going over the key takeaways from the game. There were a lot of good in the first half and then a lot of bad in the second half. A lot of mistakes this team made. Really, this game should not have been as close as it was, but we're going to go ahead and get right into it here. So let's go ahead and talk about it. The first thing I will say, a win is a win. Always nice to get a win. And, I'd rather come out of a game, knowing we have to make improvements, especially in the second half, coming out of a win rather than a loss. But it was a really rough second half there. Minnesota actually did outgain Michigan in total yards, 296 to 241. Michigan's defense, they played really, really good in the first half. They stopped the run. Minnesota only had 38 rushing yards, and Minnesota started to pick it up towards the end of the first half where they were going up tempo. And Michigan's defense kind of struggled the rest of the game once Minnesota figured out that they could go up tempo, and Michigan's defense was kind of struggling against that. But Minnesota, credit to them for getting that field goal off towards the end of the second half. That was a crazy sequence, but Michigan was, in total control, 21-3 going into halftime. Really all three phases of the game. The offense was the offense. Passing game still needs a lot of improvement, but special teams defense was playing lights out. Michigan had a blocked punt. Zeke Berry also had a strip fumble, put the offense in great position, and they ended up capitalizing on both the block punt and the strip fumble for a touchdown. Jair Hill also had an outstanding interception. So, this team was flying around in the first half. Basically reminded me of the Arkansas State game, and then once the second half came rolling around, everything just collapsed. Sean Moore knew it in his post-game interview right after the game. He was not happy at all with the win. It's obviously nice to get the win, but, he knows that this team did not play good at all in the second half. Michigan, they did win the time of possession battle. They won the turnover battle, and they really only played one good half of football, and that was enough in the end to win the game. Let's go ahead and talk about this Michigan defense. This defense was very, very good, especially when you look at the stat sheet. 5 sacks. They were getting pressure with just sending 4 players. They had 9 tackle for losses. Mason Graham had 2 sacks. TJ Guy had a sack. Kenneth Grant had a sack. And Rashawn Benny and Derek Moore both had half a sack. Ernest Hausman had a good game. Then obviously Jair Hill had that interception. Also had 1.5 tackle for losses. And Zeke Berry had that strip fumble. Now, Michigan, they were without Will Johnson. He did not play this whole entire game. Michigan's secondary was actually really banged up going into this game, as on the availability report, safety Wesley Walker, safety Jaden Mangham, cornerback Micah Pollard, Jaden McBurrows, they were all out for this game, so the depth going into the game was a bit questionable for Michigan. And then also Will Johnson, edge rusher Josiah Stewart, which is another big player Michigan was without on the defensive side. They were questionable. They ended up not playing at all. Also, the offense was without Samaj Morgan. So Michigan was without some key players. They did get Colson Loveland back in the offense, which was pretty evident was very huge for Alex Orji to kind of find a rhythm passing the ball. He did have a better game, went 10 for 18, 86 yards, a touchdown. He did throw an interception, though, and Donovan Edwards was wide open on that play. Would have been a touchdown, and really could have been the turning point to the game, because once he threw that interception, that's what sparked Minnesota's comeback. Michigan's defense, they got off the field on 4th down also after the interception was thrown, but then they called a hands to the face on Mason Graham, and then Minnesota ended up scoring a touchdown. It was 24-10. Then Michigan punted after a 3-and-out, which they got stuffed on 3rd and 1, which I don't know why Michigan does not just use Orji the way the Eagles use Jalen Hurts, do a tush push, but I digress. So yeah, after that kind of sparked it, and then the punt return put Minnesota all the way close to the 15. I believe it was at Michigan's 17. So it was a short field to work with. Defense was already gassed. Minnesota punched it in right away to make it 24-17. Michigan did have a nice drive, went down, got a field goal. there were some problems with time management on that drive. They got to do a better job. Michigan really should have just ran the ball, took as much time off as possible. They decided to pass it on a third down. Still got a field goal out of it to make it 27-17. Dominic Zavada had another great game. And Wink Martindale draws up a great blitz to make it 3rd and 10. It was 2nd and 10. He did a blitz, worked out, and then it's 3rd and 10, and he decides to blitz again, and it doesn't work out. Minnesota gets an easy one-on-one matchup, gets the first down. They ended up scoring, which was amazing catch by Daniel Jackson. This game, I mean, did not have to be as close as it was. Too many mistakes again for Michigan in the second half. And you look at the offense, the passing game got it going a little bit, but again, it was mainly Colston Loveland. 4 receptions, 41 yards. Kendrick Bell had 2 receptions, 24 yards, did drop one wide open pass he should have caught, but it was just Michigan's rushing attack again. 155 rushing yards, a total of 241 yards. Khalil Mullings, 21 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Alex Orji did use his legs a little bit, which that was nice to see. He converted on a couple 3rd and longs, but again, you know, he's got to be able to read the whole field. He missed a wide open Donovan Edwards on one play that would have been an easy touchdown. Instead, he threw it to Colston Loveland. Wasn't a great pass and ended up being an interception. So there was a little improvement from the passing game. You know, it was a rainy day, so that obviously doesn't help. But man, I mean, it was just Michigan was clearly the better team in this one. They were up 24-3, and then they just let Minnesota get back in the game with a couple mistakes, a couple plays that went Minnesota's way, and then there you have yourself, there you find yourself in a tight game with Minnesota at the end of the game that came down to an onside kick. And even then, it was, you know, a bad snap when Michigan was trying to run off the clock. It was just a very sloppy second half. So, you know, I'd rather, you know, have this after a win rather than a loss. That's always nice. You know, Michigan improves to 4-1. They got a road game for the first time this season coming up against Washington. But man, a lot to clean up. They have to play a full game of football, not just one good half of football. They have to play a whole good full game of football, and they are yet to do that this season. Even against USC, you know, that second half against USC, especially offensively, they had a turnover and they barely had any yards going into that final touchdown drive that they had that really sealed the deal. So, you know, a lot of the mistakes, they should be easy to clean up, but it's game 5 of this season and that stuff still has not been cleaned up. You know, it's on the coaches, the players. It's just the team as a whole has to play one good full game of football, and they are yet to do that this season. They've only been playing really one good half of football, and that's usually the first half, and then they, you know, kind of just collapse every time in the second half. So, you know, a lot of good came out of the first half. That first drive from the offense, by the way, what a beautiful drive. They went 3 for 3 on 3rd downs. Nice, short, simple passes from Alex Orji that, you know, Kirk Campbell and this offense set up for him. Then Khalil Mullings finished it off with a 27-yard touchdown run. But defense helped this offense out a lot, giving them a short field to work with to punch it in, also the block punt. So that really ended up being a huge part for Michigan winning this game, was the turnover battle. But let me know what you guys think or thought about this win from Michigan. They win it 27-24. They keep the little brown jug, but a lot to work on. Obviously, a win is a win. They improved to 4-1, and now it is not getting easier. They go on the road for the first time this season against Washington, and Sherrod Moore, this coaching staff, better get this team ready to play a full good game of football, not just one good half. You know, especially offensively, the offense has been stalling out in the second half. They got to do a much better job in the second half. So still a lot to clean up, a lot to work on, a lot of improving to do. Michigan should get some of their, you know, key players back for next weekend, out of Will Johnson, Josiah Stewart, hopefully Samaj Morgan as well. But they get the win at the end of the day, 27-24. And with that, that's going to wrap up today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you guys go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it. And other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.